Good morning. So, my name's Benjamin. I'm coming to you live from sunny San Diego. I live downtown right near the stadium and hope you are having a great morning. Now, we're going to jump right in here. So, let me share my screen. All right. So, what we're talking about today is what's called the review gap. And we're going to start by let's put a question out there, which is how many jobs did you lose last month before the customer ever called you? Now you have to let that one sit for a second. Before they ever called you, how would you know that? Well, what we'll be exploring today is the main reason why your customers are choosing either you or your competitors and what you can do to bring more business your way before you ever get on the phone. Now, I want to give you just a little bit of background on me, mostly so you understand the perspective that I'm coming from. My name is Benjamin Portnoy, and I'm the founder of a company called Mouthpiece. We help businesses respond faster, follow up better, and convert more of the opportunities that they already have. I've been in marketing for close to 3 decades now, 30 years, and most of that time has been spent helping businesses generate demand, turn that demand into leads, and then build systems that actually convert those leads into customers. Over the years, I've worked on hundreds of campaigns ranging from Fortune 100 companies to small and mid sized businesses where every lead and every dollar really matters. I've served as the director of marketing for the number one independent financial advisor in the country, and most recently headed up demand generation for a $30 million a year dental marketing company. But I decided to consciously leave all that behind me. And what I'm focused on today is actually much more relevant to businesses like yours. And the reason is because technology has changed dramatically, as we all know. AI, automation, CRM systems, and tools like the ones that I'm going to show you today make it possible for smaller businesses to build marketing and follow up systems that not very long ago would have required a much bigger team and a much bigger budget. But that's what I do, and that's what we do now at Mouthpiece. We help businesses respond faster, follow up more consistently, and get more value from the customers and opportunities that they're already generating. And what we're talking about today, which is reputation management, is one of the clearest examples of that. So let's move on. Let's talk about two contractors. Meet Mike, meet Chris. They're in the same town, they have the same size crew, they charge roughly the same prices. However, Mike, who you can see on the left, might actually be the better tradesman. However, one difference Chris has just turned on a system that asks every customer for a review after every job. Mike only asks when he remembers. Right now, they're 2 pages, look the same. You can see we have 4.6 versus 4.7 average stars out of 5, roughly the same amount of reviews, around 50. You can see they're starting around the same place. But let's fast forward roughly a year. Now, in that year, Mike, he got 14 reviews. That's a little more than one per month. And his last one came in 2 months ago. However, Chris, who turned on that system a year ago, kept stacking those reviews. And the system that he turned on, it worked. His newest review is 3 days old. So it came in 3 days ago. And most of those reviews have a reply from Chris or his team under them. And one note here 74% of consumers only care about reviews that came in the last 3 months or more recently. If they're before that, people aren't paying as much attention. And that keeps changing. It keeps getting tougher. The bar keeps moving up. 68% of people will not use a business where their average rating is under 4 stars. And the share who want 4.5 stars or they're not going to give you a call, that almost doubled in 1 year. 17% up to 31% of consumers want a contractor or a business to have 4.5 stars or higher, or they don't trust them. And if you have fewer than 20 reviews, almost half of consumers are going to skip you. So again, that bar keeps changing, it keeps moving up. A profile that maybe looked fine 2 years ago looks weak today. Now, let's look at this from the eyes of a consumer. Let's talk about somebody named Sonia. Her air conditioner just died and she needs someone to fix it. So she breaks out her computer or her phone and she searches local AC repair. Now, she doesn't know Mike. She doesn't know Chris. These are just people on a Google search, and she has no idea offhand who can tell who does the better work. So she just judges it by what she can see, the number of stars, how many of them, of course, how recent those reviews came in, whether the business is replying, and are there photos that they've put up there. Chris doesn't just look like an option because he put this plan in place a year ago. He started getting these reviews. They're recent. There are a lot of them, and he's replying to all of them. So he looks like the safer pick. And she's trusting her gut on this without knowing who these people are. She has to go off of what she can see. And this is becoming more and more normalized, as you probably know. Now, reviews help with two things. Number one, whether Google shows you at all. And second, they help the customer decide who they're going to pick. Now, Google says local results come down to three things: relevance, distance, and prominence. Now, reviews live inside prominence, and we'll break down all three here. So, according to Search Engine Journal, which is a really respected journal within the space, relevance measures how well your business profile matches a user's search words. So, how relevant is your result compared to what they're looking for? Distance calculates how far your physical location is from that person searching, and prominence evaluates how well known and trusted your business is, both online and offline. And that one, that's why it's highlighted here, that one is heavily driven by review counts, ratings, and web presence. So look at those three for a second. You can't move distance, you are where your office is. Relevance is something that you set up once, but prominence is the one that you can actually build every single week with the jobs that you're already finishing. Excuse me for a second. Now, a company named Whitespark asked close to 50 local search experts what matters in 2026. And these are expert opinions. You can't ever get confirmed rules from Google, but these are the people who would know what they are. So they agree that when it comes to the local pack, which is the listings at the top of the page and maps rankings, it comes down to four things. Number one, your rating, how high your stars are. Number two, how many written reviews you have. Three, how recent those are. And again, number four, whether they keep coming in steadily over time, or did they all just come in at once and then stop? That's it, those four. And every one of them comes from asking. Now, here's a real example of how this changes over time and how this gets affected. So, Mountaineer Heating and Cooling, which is an HVAC company in Boone, North Carolina, they have 15 employees. They've been in business since 1981. And it's a company that looks a lot like the ones, maybe your company, the ones on this call. This is a published customer story on Podium's website, by the way. Their office manager, named Joshua Jones, says they were averaging maybe one or two Google reviews a month. And the old way of getting those reviews was pulling a customer list by hand and emailing people one at a time. Now, they turned on an automatic text workflow after each job, which means that after a job finished, they would send out a text automatically. It was all happening through their CRM. In 6 months through that process, like the one we talked about at the beginning, they collected more than 60 reviews. 60 reviews in 6 months. That's almost 10 per month. Or really, it is. They called it a 10x increase. It also saved their staff about 4 hours a week. Now, this is the part that I like most. This case study is a few years old, After it was published, I went and took a look at their Google profile today, and that process didn't stop. Now they're over 10 times where they were. They're almost 650 reviews. Now they didn't do a one-time campaign. They turned something on and left it on, and it's still running. So here's the part that matters. They didn't just get better customers, they started asking the ones they already had. Let's look at one more example. And again, I'll tell you where it came from. Sunlight Services, a septic company in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Harold Case bought it in 2021. At the time, it was three trucks and paperwork orders pinned to a bulletin board. When Harold took over, they had about 50 reviews. The follow-up with past customers was inconsistent or it just didn't happen. Now they put that follow-up on automatic. Texts, emails, calls after the job, and today they've I think that's 16x. They're at over 800 reviews, and they, clearly went to more trucks. They have whole new service lines, and I wanna put a caveat here that they changed a lot of things at once, and reviews were one piece of that puzzle, but the direction is the same thing as the last one. They started asking, and it got built into a process versus somebody having to remember. I'm gonna make one note here. Okay, so here's the real problem. There are businesses out there with thousands of happy customers, and they only have 37 Google reviews. Now, that's not a quality problem. Those customers inevitably were happy. They did 2,000 jobs, but the business never took the time to capture it. The good work happened, but nothing recorded it and put it on Google. And the reason behind that, we both know that most people just leave reviews when they're mad about something. But if you ask a happy customer for a review, they do want to help you succeed. So you don't ask, you don't get. Now, there's a compounding effect here. We talked about Chris there at the beginning. He's in year 2, and his reviews keep adding up. His page stays fresh. Most people see that other people are hiring him right now, and that's called social proof. When other people see that something's happening, they're going to base their opinion partially on that. So, more people call, more jobs get done, more reviews come in, and this is what's called a flywheel. Reputation is not a campaign that you run. It doesn't happen just once. It's something that you build once and it keeps running. That's what a flywheel is. You picture it just going in circles, it just keeps happening. So let's talk about not only where reviews come in, but where they leak out. Reviews leak out of the business in four places. One, of course, you don't ask for them. Everybody means to, but the tech has 10 jobs he or she has to get done that day, doesn't ask, just drives off, and the next job starts. Number two, you ask too late. 3 weeks after the job's done, that new roof that got put on isn't exciting anymore. So they aren't as motivated. The client's not as motivated to leave a review. Number three, you had a big push last year and you stopped, so you didn't ask. And number four, somebody leaves a review, but nobody answers it, nobody responds to it. And so, again, those trust factors aren't built in there. Now, almost 9 out of 10 people expect a business to answer its reviews. 8 out of 10 will use a business that answers all of them, and 4 in 10 will skip a business that never answers. But here's the catch, you can't paste the same thank you under every review. Half of people say that a copy paste reply makes them less likely to call you. It's almost better not to respond than it is to have the same response over and over again that looks like a robot did it. But that's where AI can help. Like I said, AI, as we know, we hear about it every day that it's just changing everything. It's changing the landscape and it's making it so that small teams or even one person teams can look like an entire crew, an entire group of people responding to and caring about what customers have to say. So it looks like it's a real reply to what the customer actually wrote, even though you don't have time to do that. So let's put a system behind it. We've spent most of the presentation talking about where, or during this conversation, we've been talking about where the reputation gap comes from. But I want to shift gears a little bit and show you what we actually do about it. Now, I'll be upfront with you. I can't promise you five-star reviews. I can't promise you a certain number of reviews. And I can't tell you where Google is going to rank your business because nobody can. Nobody can legitimately promise those things. But there is a lot that we can control and that I can offer you. We can control whether customers are consistently asked for feedback and without you having to do it. We can control whether the follow up happens and when it happens and how frequently. We can control whether reviews are being monitored and responded to. We can control whether your Google profile is being actively managed, so it's not just a ghost town. And we can control whether the reputation you've already earned is being put to work. And that's what we're going to build for you. So let's talk about the mouthpiece reputation engine. And the important word here is it's a system. We're not just going to give you a link to your Google review page and tell your employees to remember to send it. We're putting infrastructure behind the process. We help create opportunities for feedback. We automate the follow up. We monitor what comes in. We help you respond. We strengthen the public facing information that your potential customers and existing customers see about your company. And we make better use of the reputation that you've already built. The idea is simple. Your team should be focused on doing great work for your business, and the system should handle much of the remembering, following up, monitoring, and organizing as possible. Now, this is the foundation. A job gets completed, and instead of somebody hopefully remembering to ask for a review, the system can take over. The customer can receive a personalized text or email with a simple way to leave feedback. If they don't respond immediately, the system can follow up again based on the process that we've created. And that activity can be tracked instead of disappearing into somebody's phone, inbox, or memory. That doesn't force anyone to leave a review, and it certainly doesn't control what they're going to say. It simply makes asking consistently part of the way your business operates. Then there's what happens after somebody leaves the review. A five-star review shouldn't just sit there unanswered, and a three-star review may contain something that you can learn from and adjust your business accordingly. And a serious complaint certainly shouldn't be discovered 3 weeks later because somebody happened to check Google. We give the business a process for monitoring that feedback and responding to it. AI can help draft responses and make this dramatically easier to manage. But we're not trying to make your business sound like a robot. The goal is simply to make sure customer feedback gets attention instead of being ignored. Because prospective customers aren't only reading what your customers say, again, they're also seeing how you respond. Your reputation is bigger than your reviews, and this is where we start getting beyond reviews. For a local business, your Google business profile is one of the most important pieces of digital real estate that you have. People may see it before they ever see your website that you're spending so much time and money on. They're looking at your reviews, but they're also looking at your services, your hours, the photos that you're uploading up there, your description, your contact information, and whether the business generally looks current and active. So, part of reputation management is making sure we're paying attention to that entire presence because you're not just trying to have good reviews, you're trying to look like a credible, active business that somebody feels comfortable calling. There's another thing I see businesses do all the time. They work incredibly hard to earn a great review, and then they leave it sitting on Google. That's valuable social proof that you've already earned. And social proof, again, is what people are looking at to influence their opinions that other people have already put online. Now, we can bring selected reviews onto your website so somebody researching your company sees what real customers are saying without having to go hunting for it. That's one of the things I like most about this approach. We're not inventing marketing claims about your company. We're taking the reputation your customers already help you build and making it much more visible. And there's something I don't think there's some magic number of reviews that every business needs. A roofer in one market might be competing against companies with 50 reviews. Somewhere else, the company showing up around them may have 500. That's why we want context. We can look at how your reputation compares with the businesses you're actually competing against, and we can get this dialed down to a hyper local way of looking at it. So it's not just all of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, or Syracuse, New York, or where I am, San Diego. I can show you how uh, search terms, when somebody goes in and puts in a term like broken HVAC or repair roof, San Diego, something like that, I can look at how somebody on one side of town, what their search results are versus the search results on the other side of town, on the southwest side. We can look at how your reputation compares with the businesses you're actually competing against. How many reviews they have, how recent are those reviews, or are they responding? How does their public presence compare with yours? Now, we're not just saying you need more reviews. You do, but that's only one piece of the puzzle. We're looking at the actual competitive environment and identifying where the gaps are. This is probably the simplest way to explain what we're selling. Before, reputation tended to be something that just happens. You get some reviews, somebody remembers to ask occasionally, maybe somebody responds. Maybe your Google profile gets updated. Maybe somebody notices that a competitor has suddenly gotten more, gotten like another 100 reviews, but nobody really owns the process. They're busy going on jobs or answering the phone or booking more jobs. And what we're doing is we are owning that process for you. What we're doing is putting a system, again, that word system, underneath all of that. There is a process for asking, there is a process for following up, there is visibility into new feedback, there's a process for responding, and there's somebody paying attention to the overall presence of your company. Reputation stops being something you occasionally think about and becomes something the business actively manages. So, when you work with us, this is what we're actually putting together. We start by looking at what customers see today. We look at your reviews, we look at your Google presence, your competitors, and the process you're currently using. Then we build the review engine so requesting feedback and following up no longer depends on somebody remembering. We create a system for monitoring and responding to reviews. We could bring your reviews onto your website so the social proof you've already earned works harder for you. People on your website can see those Google reviews. And we continue paying attention to the reputation system instead of simply installing some software and walking away. We keep going and we keep watching it. That's why I describe this as reputation management rather than a review request service. And we can go further. There are always ways we can expand this depending on the business. Now, I'm not going to try and sell you something you don't need. My uh, way of doing business, my way of interacting with my clients is making sure that I'm providing value before anything else. But for example, some companies have incorrect or inconsistent information spread across online directories. Now, we do have a tool where we can help you address that. Some businesses want us to take a more active role in their Google business profile content, so getting that profile more built out. We can do other things. We can add website chat or AI powered conversations for businesses that are already getting traffic, but they aren't giving visitors an easy way to engage. So if you can picture some visitor coming to your site, maybe they're responding to an ad that you're running, but they get there and maybe they see some information and they have a question and they don't see a chat widget, which that's cardinal sin number 1, but you do have a chat widget, and all it's doing is receiving their name and email. And maybe you respond, maybe you don't. We can make it so it's getting a response. The prospect is getting a response immediately within like 10 seconds. And it's not just some canned response, it's actually responding to what it is they need. We can also build more advanced testimonial systems when that makes sense. We also have voice AI that we can offer, where basically somebody calls in and you're a one or two person business, and you're not able to answer the phone because you're unclogging a toilet. You're not going to pick up your phone, and instead of it just going to voicemail and expecting somebody to leave one, we can actually have AI answer the phone, take the job information and give it to you, get it put into your CRM, and then you're notified. Or we can have it book an appointment based on what's available in your schedule right now. Now, that's a lot of things that we can do for you, but you certainly don't have to start with everything or anything. The reputation management system is what I always recommend to start with first. I think this is key to establishing how you look in your town and whether people can trust and count on you or not. That's what reputation is. And I'm going to be straightforward with you. This is not thousands of dollars. The cost for us to build and manage this system starts at $279 a month for 3 months. This is not some year or 3-year long contract. That includes the initial reputation audit and setup, the review request and follow up system, monitoring, response support, the website review widget, Google business profile work, reporting, and competitive monitoring. Now, normally, because there is a lot of time that we put in at the beginning, getting you onboarded, making sure we have all the information we need, getting things set up. Normally, I charge $1,000 for my team to do this, but because I really want you to get started with this. I know sometimes cash can be a little tight. If you decide to get started with us within 48 hours of this webinar, we're going to waive that $1,000 setup fee. So instead of it being the 3-month commitment with 279 a month plus $1,000, it's just that 3 months at 279. That's uh, your only commitment. So, one more thing is that I'm happy to get on the phone with you. I'm happy to talk about what your needs are, but some people just want to get started. And so, the part of the reason I'm putting the price here is that if you're just ready to roll and you want to get this going now, you don't have to get on a sales call. We don't have to waste your time if you don't want to. It costs this much, and I'll give you a link to get started right now. I also want to be clear though about what I'm not selling you. I'm not going to tell you we're going to make you number one on Google. I'm not going to promise that you'll get a certain number of reviews every month, and I'm not going to promise you a 5-star rating because I can't. You're the one doing the job. So your customers are going to decide what are going to say about you. And I'm not going to put some made up review number on a slide and tell you that the system guarantees it. But what I can tell you is that we can put a professional system behind the parts of your reputation that you can control. And for a lot of businesses, that's a very different way of operating than they have today. So the 3-month minimum, let's talk about that for a second. It's not because we're running some 90-day promotion. It's because we're building something into the way your business operates. Now, the first part is getting the foundation right and getting everything connected. Then the system starts running consistently. And over time, we have more information to work with. We can see what's happening. We can monitor feedback, compare the competitive picture, and make sure the process is functioning the way it should. So 3 months from now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you exactly what your rating or review count will be, but I can say that the goal is that your business has a functioning reputation management system that it simply didn't have before. Whether you do anything after this webinar or not, you already have an online reputation, whether you like it or not. Customers are already leaving signals for other customers and other prospects about your business. Prospective customers are already looking at those signals, and Google is already putting your business beside competitors and letting people compare you, whether you're controlling it or not. The only real question is whether you're actively managing that process or just letting it happen. So if you'd like us to put the system behind it for you, you can get started right now by going to mouthpieceinteractive.com and getting started. It's $279 a month with a 3-month minimum, and for the next 48 hours, we're waiving that normal $1,000 setup fee. If you don't want, you don't have to get on a discovery call. You can click below, get started, and we'll take it from here. It's up to you, and we're happy to help you start anytime. So I'll stick around here. That's it from me. I'll stick around here for a couple of minutes if you have any questions. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining me today, and I will talk to you soon.